What's up, guys? Welcome to Truth by Him podcast, number one podcast from Health and Wellness. I'm Anthony.
I'm Ben.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to another week. We are on location. We have a special guest here. We home. Yeah, we home. We home. We home here in Inglewood, California. You know, back where ours started. So I'm gonna give it to Baron to talk about our guest so we can get started.
Absolutely. Before we do that, we know we always talking about our core four. And one of those is finance. So we have information, but we actually we pull an expert to actually help us out, to actually give us some knowledge on how things are going in the future, and where things are trending to. So we have our special guest today here. I got notes. So he's a dynamic entrepreneur. You know, he has deep interest and deep knowledge in cryptocurrency and federal contracting and corporate compliance. This man has touched it all. He's proficient, like I said, in crypto. A father of father of five. So he's doing all of this and navigating fatherhood. He's a visionary to a lot. I've seen this man work, and I've never seen somebody be so impactful while being behind the scenes. So, ladies and gentlemen, I bring to you Mr. Paul Johnson.
That's a good intro, man.
That was an excellent.
That's a good intro.
That was all right?
That was all right. That was good. Yeah.
I try to edify.
A little closer,
Try to
Paul.
edify.
Yeah. A little closer. Bring a little closer. Pull it. Yep.
Is that better?
Yep.
There we go.
Right there.
There we go. There
Okay,
we go. There we go.
good.
That was
So,
the
Thanks
intro.
for having me.
No problem. How are you, sir?
Good.
Yeah? That's great. That's
Everything's
great.
good. Yes, sir.
So, like, I would say first off that we got so much to get into, but 5 of them things, like, how do you tackle 5 of it, or how have you tackled? If you had to give some advice to, I only got 2, Ant, you got a few more than 5.
A little bit.
And I always pick his brain too. But how you navigate 5?
Oh man. Well, I had 2 early when I was 21,
Okay. Same.
and then when they were 10, my middle daughter was born.
Okay.
So it's not like I had them all at the same time. Yeah. So by the time my son, who was the youngest, was born, my twins, they were on their way out. But it was definitely a challenge, but I enjoyed it, man. I loved, family, and it was just.
Hey, you can cook on here.
Okay.
This is our own thing. You can cook. There's
No filter, no anything.
Oh,
no
okay,
filter.
okay.
You can cook on here.
Yeah, so no, it was just it was definitely a challenge, man. But I loved it, man. I loved being a father, and just being there for my kids. Even right now, I tell people, being a parent is a blessing and a curse, because you never stop worrying about your kids. Any challenges, no matter how old they get, the things they go through, you still go through them with them. You know what I mean? So yeah.
So that don't never stop. You never stop worrying.
Never,
my daughter's
man.
26, about to be 27, and I worry about her. I worry about my 22-year-old. So
Mine's just 30, married with a baby, and I still worry about him.
Damn. So I guess we don't never stop worrying.
If they go through something, you still feel that pain, no matter what they go through. You still want to be there for them, or see if you could take that challenge or that pain from them if they're going through something.
Man, we were just talking last week about what I was going through with my daughter, and I say the same thing. She went through something a few weeks back, and I wish I could take that pain from her and give it to myself. Because that's parent, that's fatherhood, right? That's fatherhood. Let me ask you this: so, as you were raising your kids, as you were building, how did you really manage being a father and an entrepreneur? Like how was that? I don't like the word balance, but for lack of a better term, how was that balance in doing that?
With my first set of my twins, I was actually a probation officer. Okay. So I worked for LA County Probation from 1989 to 1999. Okay. So, and I left probation and went and got my real estate license, and I started flipping properties at that point.
Okay.
And that made it easier once I got into entrepreneurship, because I was able to do things with them and be at all their events, be at all their games, things like that. And I told people too, as an entrepreneur, before I even made a dime, because I had my time and I could do what I wanted with my time, I felt wealthy. even though I wasn't making money.
Love that.
But to have autonomy of your time, you know,
Right.
and I had to check in with a boss and see if I could take this day off to go see my kids play and stuff like that. To me, that was wealth already.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know?
And I think you learned that at an early age, and I think mostly everybody is figuring that out now. Is time is something you can't get back. So you know you can't replace time. So I would rather be able to spend time at games and track meets than to be trying to. Because then we just talked about this again. If we get sick or we're on our deathbed, our kids don't care about how much time we spend working at our 9 to 5. They care about the things that we missed or the things that we made. So that is where I would say the true wealth is having the freedom and the time to be able to be with your kids and to, I say, essentially clear the runway so they can take off in life.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
You're ahead of the curve, bro. Yeah. Again, you're ahead of the curve, and I'm glad we got you on because
it's also something that they remember too.
Exactly.
Right? Because like if I'm not sure if they were in basketball, football, track, whatever they were in, but I'm sure they remember that my dad was there.
Right.
I'm sure they remember that that he didn't miss. And I love what you said about the money didn't dictate your wealth. Right? It was the fact that you had that time to spend with them. That's massive, and I think that's important for men to hear because we think that all we gotta do is go out there and provide. Going out there and going to the events and going to the birthday parties, it's not important, but it is.
Yeah,
right? It's super important.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're creating memories, and so you can't really take that back. So that's a great point. Finance. Let's get into this finance. First off, like you were working in probation, and then you transitioned from there. What made you say I'm cool on probation and I want to go do my own thing?
You know, when I left Cal State Long Beach and got hired at LA County Probation Department, I had a concept of what I was going to be doing, how I was going to be able to impact kids, at those facilities. And when I got there, they didn't give you the resources or the tools. It was just like, here go 50 kids, make sure nobody get hurt. Right. Basically just a babysitter, right?
Glorified babysitter.
What was the concept, if you mind me asking? What was the concept that you had for the kids? So you had a concept going in.
I thought that, I could give them some insight about how I grew up and, where I grew up and that, I came from similar circumstances and maybe I could give them some insight. Okay. But it wasn't set up like that, right? Yeah. They don't give you any tools. They don't get it. And it's a revolving door. So I'm seeing these same kids come through from the time they're 10, 12, 13, 14.
The same kids.
Same kids. So, you're not able to impact them. No, your whole day is just to make sure nobody gets hurt. You get you get home safe and they get home safe. Right. You know what I mean? So with that being said, it just became so monotonous and at that point, man, when I would leave work at 2:00, the first thing on my mind was, damn, I got to come back tomorrow. So I knew I had to leave. Right. So I knew that was it. So one morning, me and my wife was laying. I woke up. I said, you know what? I'm not going to work. She said, oh, just call in. I said, no, never.
Oh, wow.
And I never went back. I didn't call in. I didn't. Really? It was about 2 years before I went to headquarters and got my retirement.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I just never, I didn't call them. I just walked away. Man.
So what clicked for you at that point? Because you were in bed, something clicked. Like,
it was just the dread of that place, man. Yeah. And like I was going nowhere. I'm working. I'm still broke. At the end of the week, you're working and you're getting a check, but you're still broke. If my breaks went out in between paychecks, I wouldn't be able to fix my break job. I had the house and everything like that. Yeah. But the debt and everything, it was just, man. And I'm working a job that is miserable. Yeah.
It wasn't what you thought it was. Yeah. I actually can relate because I spend time, I have a probation background. I was in the office though. And what I wanted to do was I wanted to impact the community so that it would be better when my kids grew up because my daughter was young at that time. And I was like, okay, this world is crazy. What can I do to impact now to make it better for them later? And the same thing, like I got little to no help as far as resources, I felt like I was I was swimming upstream
Yeah.
the entire time. So I can definitely relate to that. And people, they love it. Oh, you know, you have a city job,
Yeah,
and you
good
know,
job.
it's a good job with benefits, and you know, you're helping people, but at what cost? You know, what cost to my personal self? So
Yeah.
I definitely can relate to that, and I probably would have still been there, honestly, if they didn't. You know, 99, 2000, you know, LA market, budget crash.
Yeah.
They cut everybody. So I was part of that wave of people that
Okay.
they just, you know, swept out. But I can understand that feeling of working somewhere and feeling like you are swimming upstream and feeling like you can never catch up, feeling like you can never have that impact that you thought you were going into it. So, I mean, probation was the reason why I got my degree. Like
Okay.
I literally knew what I was going to do for the rest of my
Absolutely.
life. You know, I knew what I wanted to do, and yeah, it didn't really. I got stories about probation. We'll talk about those later. But the story ain't about me and probation. We talking about finances and everything like that. So, I would like to take a look at finances and what it looked like back then versus what it looks like now.
Start flipping.
You know, what is so drastically changed about the financial world now?
Oh, I think, you know, the tech industry and AI obviously has revolutionized business and has changed the whole landscape, even for the working class. You know what I mean? So many people are being laid off and things like that. And if you don't implement AI in your business, even you guys with your podcast, I'm sure you guys are finding ways to implement AI. I think that's the most impactful and the biggest change. When I left probation, I went into real estate. I went and got my real estate license. And I sold a few houses, but when I was seeing the checks of the sellers, I said, well, you know what? Let me be on the investment side and start flipping properties and stuff like that. So that's how I got into the investment side. Then I opened a couple mortgage companies.
Oh, wow.
I had a mortgage company right here on La Brea, and we had another one, 123 Mortgage in Carson, right before the 08, you know, the subprime crash.
So you were doing it.
Yeah, we were working, man. We were working. Yeah,
I love it.
And so you say AI, like, so for people that don't know, like AI is literally taking over people's jobs, right?
Yeah.
And those people I would say that since AI is so prevalent now, would it be a wise investment for someone to learn or teach themselves or go to classes on how to effectively use AI?
Oh, I think that would be, yes, extremely important. I would like to do that, actually. You know, learn more about AI and how to use technology in business. And I use it a little now. My son-in-law helps me out a lot, and my wife, she tries to use it a lot as well. But anybody that can get that knowledge and that experience, man, you have to take it.
Yeah, it's definitely critical. Yeah, it's really critical because when AI first came out, the concern was that it's going to take the jobs of the workers, like people work at McDonald's and Taco Bell and all that. But it's replacing the people who are in these 6-7 figure jobs, the ones who are the storytellers, who are the programmers. So it's going after like the mainstream jobs. So if you don't learn it, people are so scared of AI. They're scared that it's going to take over. It takes over people who have no idea how to use it. So if you use it and know how to prompt it well, then AI will be an asset to you. But the ones who just think it's like a oh well, that's who's going to replace.
Right.
The ones who don't invest time into learning it.
Absolutely, and it will eliminate some of these lower tier jobs, like people that work in fast food restaurants, people working in security. I'm sure you guys see the little security robots rolling around downtown and stuff like that.
Crazy.
The kiosk at McDonald's and Taco Bell. Yes.
The driverless cars. I've seen like
and trucks.
And trucks.
And diesel,
trucks.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
The diesel trucks.
Diesel trucks.
That's crazy. I haven't seen that yet.
So get with it, right? Get with it. So you went from probation to real estate to you flip homes and mortgages. So let's talk about now. Like now, tell us a little about what you. So right now you're into cryptocurrency. Right now, right?
Absolutely.
So let's talk about that and like how did you get into? How did you transition from that over to from real estate mortgage over to cryptocurrency?
Well, I really didn't make that jump like that. I'm a serial entrepreneur, right?
I can appreciate that.
After the mortgage company, we even opened when they legalized marijuana, I had a marijuana shop on King and Crenshaw.
I love it.
And so we were there for a couple years, and we're fighting the city council over there and all of that. So
of course, I bet you they welcome you back now with open arms.
Right. So I had a couple partners, some Armenian guys that were doing some stuff on the internet, and they were getting paid in Bitcoin. And I was saying. I was so confused about the concept. I think this was 2012. And he was trying to explain to me what Bitcoin was. Oh, it's digital currency. I said, but how do you spend it?
It's 2012.
Yeah.
Okay.
I said, how do you spend it? Where do you hold it at?
Right.
And he's trying to, you have to get a digital wallet, and you got to remember, man, that was all foreign to me. I could not wrap how much is a Bitcoin?
Right.
Oh, it's $1. At that time, he told me. I said,
it's foreign
$1?
to people now.
And yeah, it is actually. Yeah. So I forgot about that. Fast forward, I was invited to an event in Koreatown with some me and my buddy was the only African American in the room. They were all Asians, and at that time, this was maybe 3-4 years later, 2015, 2016, Bitcoin is now 3,000 a coin. Now, I remember the guy had told me in 2012.
Was it $1?
$1, right?
Right.
So now it's 3,000. I said, whoa, okay. Let me pay attention to
right.
So at that point, at $1, did you invest any at that time?
I didn't invest. I didn't know how to invest.
Okay.
I didn't know how to custody a token.
Gotcha.
I didn't understand blockchain technology. What I still didn't know what it was and why it was so valuable, right? So at that time, I said, let me at least start trying to buy some, and I'll learn about it.
Right.
I said, obviously, I missed the biggest part of it.
And at what point did you say, all right, let me see what this Bitcoin shit is about?
I would buy it, and I bring all my family, even my daughter, before she went to, one of my daughters graduated from Clark in Atlanta, right? So she had bought some Ethereum. I made them all open a Coinbase account, and she had bought some Ethereum. I think Ethereum was maybe $80 a token at that time. The last bull run was in 2017. Crypto bull market happens like every 4 years, right? There's a Bitcoin halving.
Didn't know that. Okay.
But anyway, Ethereum has shot up to 4,000 now. I remember my daughter, I called, I said, hey, Kaylin, that Ethereum is $4,000 a token. She couldn't get into her wallet. She didn't know her password. She had forgot. She had the Coinbase account.
It had been that long.
Yeah. And she had ended up getting back in it, man. And she had almost $30,000, So she's one of my children that you don't have to tell her. She understands it. She got jumped in full-fledged at that point. So I think that was 2018.
30K spendable cash?
Yes.
Actual cash.
Value and token, you could cash out immediately, though.
Okay.
If you got 200,000 in Bitcoin, you could become liquid in less than 5 minutes.
Wow. Okay.
Wow. It's one of the most liquid assets on the planet. Like this gold, if I needed cash money, I would have to ship it somewhere. Or go find somebody that will maybe give me less than what it's worth. Bitcoin's not like that. Even you don't have to sell it. You could leverage it and borrow against your Bitcoin like that. A lot of people don't know that. To me, I think it's the best asset on the planet, man.
Really? Because of its fluidity?
Because of the scarcity. There's only going to ever be 21 million, right?
Of what?
Of Bitcoin.
That's the cap.
21 million coins, period.
Okay. But those you can buy and you can trade, buy and sell back and forth, right?
You can buy and sell, but it's getting so scarce. You know, it's 96,000 a coin right now, right? For one Bitcoin. But Bitcoin is fractional. You don't have to buy one Bitcoin. Like a dollar is 100 pennies. The increments of Bitcoin are called Satoshis. Like in the there's 100 million Satoshis in one Bitcoin.
What's a Satoshi? What is that?
It's a fraction of a
Gotcha.
Bitcoin.
Okay.
Like
So
a
like a
penny
pen-
is a
Okay, gotcha.
right?
Okay.
So if you needed to buy $2 worth of Bitcoin, you could buy it. You know, you don't have to buy a whole coin. I think that's the misconception.
Wow, okay.
When they hear 90-something thousand, they're like,
I
whoa,
can't do it. Yeah.
it's too much.
Yeah.
And then 2 years ago, it was 15,000. So people are feeling like, oh God, if I could just get it at 15 again,
Right.
It's never going to go
You're
down
not gonna,
again.
it has volatile drops, but you'll never get it at 15 again. It may go down to 70 because it's that volatile. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And but you won't get it at 15. So every time it's a drop, I buy Bitcoin. I don't care what price it's at.
Just buy it. Okay.
Right? Because our dollar cost average. Right? So and I look at it like a 401k, and I tell people the only thing that's changed in Bitcoin since its inception is that it's become more mainstream. Now it's on Wall Street. First, the banks were trying to kill it and tell everybody it's a scam.
Right.
It's only used for black market transactions, right? But they see the people wasn't going for it. I love Bitcoin because the government, you just can't go in my wallet and take my coins whenever you get ready, right? There's no name on it. There's no social security number attached to this wallet.
So
right?
it can't be taxed or anything.
It's a global currency. I could transact business 24/7 in any country in the world as long as I have internet access.
Right.
And that's why people love it. So when you look at people like Michael Saylor, the CEO of MicroStrategy, or BlackRock, that is the biggest asset holders in the world with over 10 trillion under management. They own $54 billion worth of Bitcoin.
Crazy.
Tesla owns billions of Bitcoin. Jack Dorsey from Cash App owns billions of. So the greatest tech minds and the greatest financial institutions in the world are trying to buy this stuff up as fast as they can. Man.
So here's where I'm a bit confused. So you said like Jack Dorsey owns 54 billion of Bitcoin. Or someone does, right? But you said it's only 21 million of Bitcoin available.
21 million complete Bitcoins will ever only be mined. They own 54 billion. BlackRock owns $54 billion worth of Bitcoin. That might be 90-some thousand Bitcoin or something like that.
Gotcha.
100,000
Okay.
Bitcoin might equal 54 billion. You know what
Gotcha.
I mean?
Okay. I see what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. It makes sense. Okay. So is Bitcoin the same as trading on the stock market? Is it? Like,
You could
what's
buy
the difference?
ETFs. You could hold Bitcoin in your 401k right now.
Okay.
You know, they Grayscale sells. Will package your 401k and you could hold some Bitcoin. But I would say if you buy Bitcoin, custody it yourself, hold it yourself. Don't let nobody hold that asset for you.
But do you trade it like a stock?
You could trade futures. You can trade it on the futures market, not on the stock market, but you could definitely trade it. I don't trade it. Like I say, I buy it.
You just buy it and hold it. Okay.
And if I need it, I can access some capital.
Okay. So you can buy it, hold it. It goes up. You can cash out. You said
Anytime.
Within 5 minutes.
Yeah, anytime.
Huh.
Now, what I do is even on like somebody sent me. You could buy it right there on your Cash App. You have Cash App, right? Yeah. So if you want to buy Bitcoin,
it's a masterclass right here, man.
Like somebody want to send me money, I tell them to send me. I'd rather have Bitcoin than cash.
So, but the person has to own the Bitcoin first, right?
Yes. Let me see. See, somebody sent me. This is Bitcoin.
Okay.
This how much.
Okay.
Actually, they sent me. I think it fluctuated a little bit because he sent me like $1,400.
Okay.
So it fluctuates all day, right?
Okay.
And then what I'll do with this, I'll send this to my cold wallet. I'll take it up. This is called an exchange. Coinbase is a centralized exchange where
Right.
somebody governs it and manages
Right.
it. But you can take that off and put it on a cold wallet to where you are the only one that could access
Okay.
those coins.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. Let me ask you this. I have questions. And if I'm talking too much, Baron, stop me. I have questions. So, a person wanting to get into, say, like options, right? So, options, you need some capital to start that.
Right.
Right. So, with the Bitcoin, is there a required amount of capital you need to actually get started to start making money?
Absolutely not. Oh, to start making money, Bitcoin's not like you're gonna get rich overnight.
Right.
Right. So I'll just tell people to just whatever you can. Let's say if you can lose $500 a month, and I just say lose because it's still an investment, right?
Right.
But understand this: Bitcoin is the best performing asset in the last decade. Nothing has performed like this asset in the last 10 years, right? So, and you just buy it and hold it, man. Bitcoin is projected to be $1 million a token by 2030.
That's around the corner.
Yeah, that's
by
literally you
2030,
blink
right?
and it'll be here.
So, so with that being said, for every dollar you put in Bitcoin right now, it's like you're gonna get $10 back. You know, you 10x.
Yeah.
Right.
Now you won't get the runs like some people was able to buy at $800, $1, $1,500, $3,000.
Right.
We missed those boats, right? But can you imagine in the next 20 years, and the technology is so young, all the things that's being able to be done with Bitcoin hasn't even been discovered yet. It's less than 20 years old.
Really?
You know, so
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, and I asked because, like Baron said, part of our core four is finance, right? And a lot of guys watching, they have families, they have wife and kids, and they work on a job, but I just don't have the money to invest. Like I don't have extra $1,000 or $500. I mean, can they get started with like $100, $20,
Absolutely.
$30?
Absolutely.
Okay.
They can go right on Coinbase and buy $20 worth of Bitcoin.
Okay.
I mean, Coinbase or Cash App. You can buy right there
On
on
Cash App too.
Yeah, you can buy it right there on Cash App and send it right to your wallet.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
So I would just say, you know, what else you gonna invest in?
Yeah.
El Salvador. Let me tell you why it's so incredible too. El Salvador. I don't know if you guys are familiar. It's their currency. It's their national tender.
Bitcoin is.
Bitcoin is
Oh,
El
okay.
Salvador, right?
Okay.
So think of third world countries. I think Africa is the highest use case of crypto right now, which is beautiful. I love that, right?
Wow.
Just think people in these rural areas have never been able to deal with anything with banking or commerce because they're in these areas. They don't have paperwork to go into a bank with an ID.
Right.
So they're basically always left out. Bitcoin includes those. All you need is a phone, right? And now you're able to participate in global economy. You know, I could send money to no matter where you are. I could send you now, and it's easy to cash out. I could send it to your Cash App. You could give me your Bitcoin address on your Cash App.
Okay.
I could shoot you 10,000, 15,000.
Right now you can.
Right now.
Right now.
And look,
Ain't no time like the present.
And you could convert it to cash right on your Cash App.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or I could send it
That's
to
how
your
simple they're making it.
Okay.
Yeah. So, or I could send it to your PayPal or what. You know, it's easy. I think Fidelity, if you got a brokerage account, they're custodying Bitcoin now. So everybody's going to get involved in it. It's just that.
Yeah.
You know, the banks are already getting all these patents and getting ready to hold your asset instead of us holding our own asset.
Gotcha.
You know,
So talk to me more about how do you hold your own asset? So if it comes to your Cash App, you say hold your own asset. What does that mean?
that means there's what you call a cold wallet that you take it off an exchange, and in order to access that Bitcoin in that wallet, you have a set of keys, and keys in crypto is 16 words placed in a certain order, right?
Wow. Okay.
And that's the only time you can access. Nobody else can get it if they can't put those 16 words like that, right?
Wow.
So if you hold your Bitcoin on Coinbase or Cash App, you don't have the keys to it. Although you have access to it, it's really not your Bitcoin. It's on Jack Dorsey's platform. It's on Coinbase platform.
Gotcha.
You want to take it, so you got the asset, right?
Yeah.
And you're holding it. And if you want to give it to somebody or give it to your kids, you know, you could give them the keys to that, right?
Basically, the keys to the kingdom.
Yeah.
So you mentioned like having a wallet. Is that like and now I'm thinking from, like you said, the guys that are listening, is that an extra fee to have a digital wallet?
Yeah, it costs about, I think the cheapest one might be like $59 or $99, and then they have some that are a little bit more sophisticated. Just do more things digitally on the wallet.
Right.
Like,
That's if you don't want to use Cash App or Coinbase.
absolutely.
Okay.
And
Gotcha.
you could do that. If you
wanna
start like
Yeah.
that, I would just recommend eventually taking it, because those people, the reason I got into crypto, like I said, is to have separate money from the state.
Right.
So in order to get a Coinbase account or a Cash App, I got to give you my ID. I got to put my face and all that. So now if the IRS come to you looking for me, you're going to say, yeah, he's got this money over here, right?
And that's when they be like,
Yeah, and then if they want to attach it, because I've had franchise tax board reach in and just take money out your account. You're like, man, what?
Yeah.
You know,
Where's the security first?
How does that work?
Right. But with the wallet, they can't.
No, they don't even know
Yeah.
how. There's no, like I said, there's no name on it. You don't need a social security number to open it. You just need your private keys. You know what I mean?
So do you get like a card where you can swipe and pay, or like how do you access that money in a wallet?
You access your account with your keys. Boom, you see your balance right there. Now you can send it. I'll send you another wallet.
Gotcha.
I'll give you an address. You know, you copy and paste it. Boom, you send it to that address.
Okay. So you said it's $52 to $200. Is that monthly or is that just a one time?
No, just one time.
Oh, nice. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. Man, that's nothing. So
And when it's over, I'll go get one of my wallets so you guys could just see what it
Okay.
looks like.
Yeah, definitely.
Love to look at that. What would you say to the average working class man who's providing for his family, has a 401k that he's been putting in for the last 5 years? What do you say to that man when it comes to investing into Bitcoin?
My advice is a little different, because I would say sell everything you got and put in Bitcoin, right? But
let's
I know
go.
that would scare the average person. Right?
I'm excited about that.
So in essence, maybe like
Do what you can.
cash out. Let's say they cash out their 401k. Give me my 401k. I want all of that, or give me a percentage of that.
If somebody's a working person, you know, I wouldn't advise that. They might not sleep well.
Yeah,
If they do that, Bitcoin drop $15,000 tomorrow, they might sell at a loss, because people thinking in their mind it might go to zero.
Right,
You know what I mean?
right.
So I wouldn't recommend that. But, you know, maybe take 5% of your portfolio, or you know, start learning about crypto, start learning about Bitcoin and why this technology and why everybody is trying to get this asset, you know.
It's kind of crazy you say that, as far as they probably might not sleep at night. They probably lose some sleep and
sleeping
worrying
now.
about it. That's about a mindset.
Yeah.
You know, if you're going into it like that, then yeah, definitely your mindset is like, let me get at least some of my money back.
Right, absolutely.
But if you
that's how
are,
they would move.
you know, I look at banks. When you put your money into a bank, when you get directly deposited, let's just say $1,000 goes into your direct deposit into a bank is taking that $1,000 and they're giving it to that customer that's at that ATM teller that needs $1,000 to go fix their car. So it's like, it's the kind of like the same thing where, yeah, you put money into this bank, but it's not staying there. It's going out. It's a circle. It's a cash flow. So with the mindset being, I'm going to put this money away, and tell me if I'm wrong, but I'm putting this money away and I'm not going to think about it until I actually need it.
Yeah, that's how you got to move with Bitcoin. Whatever you put in there, just know you're not going to need it.
It's
for
an
a while.
investment.
Yeah,
It's an investment for, you know,
for
later.
a long,
Okay, so I get that part. So it's more of a, like you said, a teaching a mindset then of Bitcoin and the volatile nature of it.
Right.
It's only going to go up from here. I mean, it may drop, but it's not going to zero.
No, you know, it's getting more and more scarce. More, like I said, the only thing different is it's got more and more mass adoption since its inception, right? Institutions are adopting it. Countries have adopted it.
You said countries, wow.
Yeah, so
It's the new way.
we always the last one to the party, man. So it's like this thing is 96. Nobody's talking about Bitcoin. It's 96,000 a coin. 2 years ago, it was 15,000. What else are you talking about?
Yeah.
You know, it's projected to be $1 million a coin by 2030. You don't own any of this asset.
So why is that? Is it because they don't know about it? It's not taught. I mean, why is the knowledge so like why it's not scarce? Why it's not out there?
Well, I think number one, we know it's a threat to the central banks, to fiat currency. That's why they try so hard to kill it. But if you see now, more and more people are talking about it, you know, mainstream, even, you know, you see some commercials now. I seen during the playoffs, they were talking about Bitcoin, but they were promoting Coinbase, you know, put your money in Coinbase. So I think it's had such a negative connotation attached to it for so long, our people just turned it off, you know.
Okay.
So when you hear scams like Sam Bankman-Fried over there, FTX, multi-billion-dollar scam, people associate that with Bitcoin. Because when they hear crypto, all they heard was Bitcoin when they say this dude stole people money that was deposited in his exchange.
So two things. so crypto is not Bitcoin. There's different types of currency, right? So it's not just Bitcoin.
It's not just Bitcoin.
Okay.
There's a bunch of currencies like, and I don't just invest in Bitcoin. I love Bitcoin, but there's currencies that are AI agents connected to it. There's lending platforms, which they call decentralized finance in crypto. Staking platform or similar to like if you buy some Ethereum or Solana, these are different types of crypto, right? So if I buy some Solana and they have a DeFi platform that say, hey, if you stake your Solana over here, it's like putting your money in a CD. Staking is like putting your crypto in a CD. Hey, we're going to give you X amount of Solana every 6 months for staking your Solana, taking it off the blockchain, taking it off the exchange and holding it over here. So, you know, I do yield farming, I do airdrops, everything associated with crypto. You know, I do some aspect of crypto every day. You know.
Okay. So the same thing I had was, so do you think that people actually know what it is versus someone not get into it because it's a scam or because, you know, people are not using it right? But do you think like people actually know like what it is, or they just hear Bitcoin and crypto and just stays at that? Or is there genuine knowledge that's out there that they know or they don't know?
No, you really have to, like if you get on Coinbase, and Coinbase is a good platform for education. What Coinbase does a lot of times, if there's a new crypto that's introduced, they'll give you can go learn about this crypto, and the company will give you some of that currency for going through and learning about what this particular currency does and how it operates and what it's good for, right?
Yeah.
So imagine you have your Bitcoin on Coinbase, and God forbid something happens to you, right? These people gonna want to put that account in probate, and you know what I mean? So now they taxing you on it, and you got to pay lawyer fees because. Whereas if you have it on your cold wallet, you just, whoever you want, hey, I got these keys right here. Show your kids how to access it, you know.
So it's almost like leaving your legacy, or, you know, you're building that. That would be the reason why you even started in the first place, right? To create that legacy, to create that, financial freedom and financial literacy for your kids. So it would be advantageous for you to have it in your own wallet as opposed to letting someone else control it.
Right. It's like you're your own bank. Finally we got control. And that's why it was created, man, to get a small guy
your own bank. I like that.
Giving us control back.
Your own bank.
And you got your Bitcoin. They got platforms if you want to borrow. That's an asset you don't have to sell. If you want to borrow against it, boom. Coinbase, I think, do it as well. They'll let you borrow up to 50% or whatever on deposit with your Bitcoin. And,
so Bitcoin is more of a buy and hold strategy. So you don't buy.
It's like a store of value, like they say it's digital gold.
You don't like day trade or you just
you
buy
can trade futures with it.
You can
day trade with Bitcoin.
Okay.
Yeah, there's platforms you could absolutely trade.
Okay.
Would you recommend that?
If you know what you're doing. I've lost so much money trading, man, and my personality is such that I'll start using it like gambling. So you got to learn how to use them charts, and of course you're gonna take some bumps to learn, right? But I know some people that's really successful in trading crypto. So, but I don't have the personality.
Ideal is to buy it, hold it.
That's what I would say.
Watch it grow, and if you need it, you can cash it out anytime.
Absolutely.
Okay.
There for emergencies.
Okay. So when someone pays you in Bitcoin, do you use that for your day to day, or do you go and just store that away as well?
Most of the time I'll store it away, but if I need it, if sometimes I might need to get to some cash, or my wife, hey, I need some money real quick.
Gotcha.
Okay, how much? 500? Oh, let me convert that to 500. I'll send it to your cash app.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. So
because
go ahead. No, go ahead.
Okay. What's so beautiful, like when you put it on your cold wallet, you're going to put that wallet in a safe. You're going to put the keys in another area. You don't want to store them together, right? So in order to get to that and open it up, it's going to take a little, let me go get this and put it on this computer. It's like going into your vault.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
don't make it easy.
It's like a savings. It's like you're not just going to be running back and forth to your Bitcoin, touching it, right?
Yeah. So this is something that a person like a kid can start, right? I mean, can a kid buy Bitcoin, or it's just for like 18 and over?
A kid could buy Bitcoin. A kid can buy Bitcoin like through a private exchange like Naja, but to open an account like with Coinbase or KuCoin or something like that, you got to be 18, just like a bank account.
Yeah,
got to show your ID. Got to do the facial recognition, all that. They call it KYC, know your customer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, makes sense.
What I've seen over my lifetime is that there's a lot of fear out there, right? You mentioned that Barron said, well, so someone to their 401k and cash it out and buy a Bitcoin. You said they'll probably lose sleep, right? But right now I see they're losing sleep anyway, right? Based on where they are financially, where their mindset is, that they're losing sleep anyway based on what they're doing. So when I take a risk and do something else, because either way you're going to lose sleep, right? Because that's what we do as men, right? We worry about things, we concern. So it's like, how about something that's going to make your future better, right?
I mean, in theory, that sounds good, but the average person don't have that tolerance and simply don't have the courage, man.
Right.
To,
the courage,
to go against the grain. They would tell you Bitcoin is a scam, and then they're selling it on Wall Street. It's like, man, are you seeing what's going on?
I would think those that say that Bitcoin is a scam, I would ask them how well versed are they in crypto and Bitcoin specifically. Like, if you're not well versed in something, if you're not very knowledgeable of it, then it's less likely I'm going to take your opinion on it. Especially if it physically did not happen to you, and you're just hearing it.
You can be. Don't get me wrong. You can absolutely be scammed in crypto if you don't know what you're doing. I've lost thousands of dollars, man, in crypto. But I'm glad I learned it the way I learned it. You know what I mean? I wouldn't have. I jump in and that's just the way I am. You know,
Yeah.
I'm aggressive in finance. I'm aggressive in business. So I took some bumps, but that has nothing to do with Bitcoin. If you lose money in crypto,
I don't think the fear. I mean, if it's Bitcoin, if it's real estate, if it's stock market, if it's open up business, I mean, if you have fear, you have fear, right? And I think that's a disservice to who we are as men. Is because if we have this vision for our life, for our loved ones, and we want them to be better off than we are, we have to take some risk, right? So I don't believe it's just crypto. I think it's a fear factor overall of like taking a risk in life, but then at the same time, we at times complain about where we are, but don't want to take the risk to become better.
right?
Right. So that for me is a touchy subject, right? Because I think that we can make decisions because we take risks doing everything else in life. But when it comes to becoming better, making more money, setting our kids up, we kind of like shy away and sit back because we're afraid. Do you have any clue like where that mindset comes from?
I believe it's just from the whole way we were raised and educated.
The conditioning,
man. You know, we weren't taught about money.
Yeah.
You know,
Were you taught about money growing up?
Nobody at my table talked about money or had the Wall Street Journal.
So how'd you shift? Like how'd you shift? Like you did it.
I wanted to make money, and that was another reason when I was at a job, you telling me this how much money I can make this year. You can't, I don't want you to dictate. I might not make nothing, but let me determine that.
Right.
You know?
Yep.
So, I just had a desire, and I always wanted better, you know.
Your desire to want more trumped your lack of knowledge or your the genesis of, like you said, it wasn't nobody at your table talking about finances, talking about money, speaking on investing, but it was your desire to want more that made you, like you said, an aggressive entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So I think that's where people
desire.
The desire has to trump that fear.
Right.
You have to be able to say, okay, I want this. It's like we talk. Half of our clients are like, okay, what do you want to do with your life? Oh, I want to do that. Okay, well, do you know the necessary steps to do it? Oh, that's too much work. And you don't really want that.
Right.
So knowing where you want to go is easy. The hardest part is stepping out and believing in yourself and not letting fear keep you complacent and not letting fear keep you from taking steps forward to grow yourself.
Yeah.
You know what? I want to applaud you guys, man, because that you guys had a foresight and taking the charge to speak about money and finance because a lot of rooms I go into, that's the last thing we want to talk about is money or finance or credit. So Bitcoin, crypto, it gets quiet. It's like it's almost taboo in certain rooms, especially dealing with us.
Especially.
Yeah. I went to Bitcoin conference in Miami. When was that? I think that was 2021 or 2022.
That sounds
and
South Beach. South Beach, Ocean Boulevard.
No, it wasn't on South Beach. It wasn't far.
Just
though.
Miami.
That was the point right there. It wasn't far. I mean, you knew where it was.
So it was about 20,000 people there, man.
Wow.
And I would say I seen maybe less than 20 black people, man.
That's crazy.
At the whole event, and it was like, wow, man.
That I'm curious. How did that make you feel at that moment? I know how it would have made me feel.
I was just, I met a good brother named Mars. He was from Black Bitcoin. He had a group called Black Bitcoin Miami, and he caught me and interviewed me there on the spot. But I was just excited to be around people that's excited about cryptocurrency. But I did recognize that we were absent in the room, man.
Right.
And you know, we got to do a call to action, man. We got to.
We have seen in a lot of rooms when it comes to money and finance, like a lot of rooms. And the thing is that Barry and I, we get questions, people asking about how to do certain things, and we give them the roadmap. We do, and they just don't perform. They just don't do it. It's always this is why, or this happened. It's like
you're gonna take me there.
Yeah,
you're gonna take me there.
Take you there. But, you know what? And it's frustrating because people ask the questions, but when it comes down to taking the action, it's just not being done. And it's concerning because, like, what else do we do? Yeah. One, as men, secondly, as black men, like, what do we do? Because we can say, what, here it is, here's the map. You can say, here's the map, but if we don't take action on it, then that leaves us, frustrated, like, what, I can't do anything else. And now we move on to bigger and better things, and then they're left, in a sense, complaining about us leaving them. Right. So that's where my frustration is with that.
Right. No, I get it.
Me personally, I'll let everybody know, like, we have, even on our weekly calls, we have a set time that we start. And we give grace in that time, thanks to Anthony, because if it was up to me, we start at 6 o'clock. But we give grace to guys that comes in on the call later. But my thought process is, you missed the train, you missed the train. You catch up, you might not get on the first class cart. You might have to get on in the luggage cart, but at least you're on the train.
Right.
But the point is, the train ain't gonna stop. The train is supposed to leave. The train is leaving. So we that's the frustration that we deal with sometimes. But we always tell each other that we have to look at ourselves first.
Right.
Everybody doesn't move the same way. So you got to give people grace.
Yeah. And
now we're at the point where we have to start on time because everybody's there on time. By the time we're there, by the time we start, there's like 5-6 people already waiting in the call room.
Oh, okay.
Before it was like it would be just he and I on, and then everybody's chiming in like 10 minutes later, 15 minutes later, and we're already 4 slides in on an 8 slide call. So we're like, damn, okay, now we got to kind of start over. Do you got, and I don't start over, honestly. I really don't. But I'm learning to, be graceful in that approach. So
definitely don't start over.
I do.
Yeah, and he was saying, like, it used to be just me and him on the calls, but we would do the calls anyway, right? Because and that was his idea. Like, you know what? No one's here as me. Let's just do the calls. And then after we did them, we got 1, we got 2, we got 8, we got 10, we got 15. So people started joining, but we didn't have the calls based on people coming or not. We show up for ourselves. And I think that when you show up for yourself first, that's when the doors open, right? And most people don't. They want to wait for an audience, right? You come to see me, do it for yourself first, and then the audience will come. So that's one thing that we did, and it's been a blessing, right? But I just want to bring more people along the journey, right? And like that's like, okay, how do we get more people aboard? Like, how do you see yourself getting people more aboard with crypto or our people? What's your master plan?
You know what? I used to do classes. I used to do classes up here every Sunday, man, and it started off pretty free classes. I would do it for about an hour, or sometimes I would demonstrate how to get certain decentralized wallet. What coins other than Bitcoin I was looking at, whether it was on a Ethereum or Solana blockchain. I'll show them how to get this decentralized wallets to hold their coins on there. I would explain different gaming tokens or whatever questions they had about crypto. So if people are not interested, they just not gonna come, man. Yeah. But what you guys are doing with a platform like you guys, it's gonna continue to grow. So even if you guys feel like you're not reaching as many people as you want right now, I still believe you guys will be impactful, man.
Yeah, it's definitely like the journey because we can see the growth, and it's just continuing to go no matter what. Because sometimes people ain't gonna show up, right? had a mentor of mine who was doing conferences, right, live in person. He set up 50 chairs for his first. It was a 2-day conference. Set up 50 chairs and no one showed up. Right. He did
A 2-day conference on what?
on mindset, and growth, and really discovering who you are as a person. Right. No one showed up, and he did it anyway. 2 days by himself. Right. 5 years later, he had 500 people in there. Right. So it's just like, you show up and you do it anyway. Right. Because if you wait, you're gonna be waiting forever. And like, that's why, him, like, what, whether we get 1 view or 1 million views, we're still doing it because it all starts with 1.
Absolutely.
Right. So we're gonna do it regardless because so now we do that, have that mindset, we see the growth, right? We see it happening. And it's just being consistent and like staying the course, right? We see the path, we see the goal, and like we're shooting towards that. Right, it's going to happen. Am I wrong?
No. You're right on it, and more importantly, showing up for yourselves. You're also creating a discipline.
Yeah,
you're creating a discipline. Like, no matter what, I'm going to show up every Thursday at 6. I'm going to be there. I'm going to show up, and when it grows, you can appreciate your humble beginnings better.
Yeah,
just like if we all been broke before. I ain't gonna lie. We all been broke before. You can appreciate now looking in your refrigerator versus looking in your refrigerator when you were 8, 10.
Right.
So you can appreciate where you came from, but you can also respect and give yourself praise for the steps that you've taken to go from point A to point B. So like we're doing this, and we see the growth, and it gives us the battery in our back to keep pushing.
Okay.
Similar to your business grind out. Last year, I was there last year.
Okay.
And between last year and this year, I wrote 4 books.
Okay.
So, and it was because of that battery that you guys have that I received. You guys didn't physically just say, "Here, go get it," but it was me being there from 8 to 8 and actually sitting in there and gaining knowledge and thinking to myself, like, shit, if they can do it, hell, I can. What am I waiting for? So immediately I went in the lab and started writing. So, and then to come back a year later and to actually say that, I can only imagine what the next 365 days are going to look like. So we'll see what next year look like.
Absolutely.
I definitely wanted to make sure that I told you that personally. I told your wife that what was that, 2 weeks ago? I told her that 2 weeks ago. I wanted to make it a point to tell you that face to face. So, that grind out, bro. Keep going. Keep doing it.
Appreciate you.
It is definitely it helped me out. We gained a lot of information.
Yeah.
I don't believe in coming by myself. So I was like, okay, great. Guess where we going Saturday? So so we'll see. But yeah, we're definitely
awesome.
Definitely wanted to make sure you got those, gave you those flowers.
Oh, appreciate it.
I was super inspired. Yes, because when we left here, I'm like, we got to do an event. Mm-hmm. So we set an event for ourselves, a men's mental health event on June 14th.
Father's Day weekend.
Yeah, so it's like, so your event inspired me. Like, you know what? Let's do ours.
Awesome.
Right? Let's do ours. Because I mean, I believe in like calling things out, like speaking in like our television, our podcast is the #1 podcast for mental health and wellness, right? The number one. So that's who we believe we are right now. So that's where we want to be.
Okay.
So, so in closing, talk to us about really what do you see like the future and why should people take advantage of this like right now?
You're referring to Bitcoin.
I'm sorry, Bitcoin,
crypto,
yes.
right?
Yeah, crypto,
so,
yes.
Really just the scarcity, man. And it's a token, like you were saying, what do you have to do? Can you invest it, trade it?
Yeah.
Just buy it and hold it, man.
Buy it and hold it.
Just buy it and hold it as much as you can. It's not too late. If you feel like you missed it because it was 15 or 16,000, it's not too late. It is getting later. I tell people that all the time. It's not too late, but it is getting later. they say the best time to plant an oak tree was 20 years ago. The next best
say
time
that.
was right now.
Right
you
now.
know? So
Yep.
same thing with Bitcoin, man. You know, we got to get on it. You know?
And you showed me off camera that as $1 on your Cash App, you can start with like $1.
Literally,
it's like that
literally.
easy. So
that's what I was telling you
there's
about.
no
the
excuse.
Satoshis.
Yeah.
It's 100 million Satoshis inside one Bitcoin. So it can break. You can literally hold half a cent of Bitcoin in your wallet. You know,
That's crazy.
even less than that.
That's
You know,
crazy.
So
To start, yeah.
Yeah.
So you don't have to be afraid of it, and even if you are, I wouldn't use the word fear, but even if you are a little leery of Bitcoin, tip your toe in the water and see what it is.
absolutely,
You know,
$1.
man. Absolutely.
$1.
Absolutely.
$1, 4 quarters.
I believe in the next 5 years, everybody's going to be dealing in crypto. You might be playing with it. I mean, using it through your banks, but you're going to definitely be using crypto.
I could be mistaken, but I could have swore Odell Beckham's second to last contract with the
It
Rams.
said all Bitcoin.
Yeah, he won.
They
the
thought they
Rams.
was laughing at him.
What?
They was laughing at him. They said, this dude crazy. He said, pay me in Bitcoin.
Pay me in Bitcoin.
What?
And that's what they did.
Wow. Yeah.
Couple of athletes did that.
crazy.
But he started it. Though,
Yeah,
didn't
he started
Yep.
it. He sure did.
Yeah, that's
And
crazy.
they thought he was crazy, man. And I think Bitcoin at that time was what?
Wow.
Maybe 8,000 a coin.
Wow. Yeah. You mentioned a fear there, Baron. It's like, the cure for fear is action, right? I mean, it's
Take a
fear,
step.
fear is natural. It's normal, right?
Right.
Go ahead, Paul.
No. I just don't want to forget, and I know you wrapping up. And I would say this to you guys too. Download the app CoinGecko if you haven't already, and CoinMarketCap on your phones, and that just has all the major cryptos. You can check every day the prices, and read up on different currencies.
How often do you check your crypto?
Every day,
Every day.
multiple times a day sometimes, depending on what I'm doing. I'm always looking for different current crypto. Like right now, I do have a long contract going on this crypto currency. It is it's a AI 16Z, and it creates AI agents, right? So, like when I'm involved in a futures contract, I'm always just looking at the price, make sure I don't get liquidated and stuff like that. So, but I'm always on the computer,
Always
looking at
checking it
crypto,
out.
always, and trying to find another entry point on something, So
That's that aggressive entrepreneur.
Perfect. So I'm not sure if Baron told you, but you are our first guest.
You are our first
awesome,
podcast.
man.
So
Awesome.
You are our first guest.
Thanks for
Feel all right?
Hey,
Wasn't bad of a thought, right?
for
we
blessing
made
us.
history.
Right. That's a good way to look at it. We made history.
Yes,
and
sir.
we
Yes,
started
sir.
off with money making.
Yes,
So
sir.
what better way to do
Any
it?
words in closing, B?
In closing, I would just say for the guys or anybody watching, do not be in fear of the future. Embrace the future. And if you can't conquer that fear, take that first step, because that first step is definitely, you take one step, you're not where you were before.
Yeah.
So make sure you just take that first step. I hope we brought enough information to our subscribers. And we did get a subscriber jump. So again, I always want to make sure that we shout out the subscribers. But yeah, don't take that. You don't have to take a leap of faith. Take a step.
Yeah.
Just take a step.
Yeah. So thank you, Paul. That is the truth about him. I appreciate you.
Oh, cool.
Appreciate you. Thank you so
brother.
much.
Thanks for having me, man.
So guys,
Appreciate you,
that's the story. Thank Paul. So comment, like, subscribe.
Yes.
Bitcoin is something that's going to explode here in the next year and probably forever.
Mm-hmm.
So if anybody needs this, please share them this podcast. Please like it. Please subscribe, and please comment, because the comments help us get new ideas for the show. Thanks for watching. See you next week. Peace.